And we're back on the Digital Foyer, your favorite place to be, my favorite place to be. My name's Father Isaac, and I'm here with...
Noreen Smith, and I am the Outreach and Operations Pastoral Director.
There you go.
Yeah, I know, it's a lot of names. I tend to forget parts of it myself. I have to stop and think.
Well, you know, that's how you know it's a good job, yeah.
Okay, and I actually am with Father Isaac on the parish leadership team. Mm-hmm. Yes, not pastoral, parish leadership team. And the reason why I am here is because as I was driving in for our PLT meeting in the car, I started thinking of all these questions. And, you know, often I do my best thinking in the car. And they were questions about saints. And I thought to myself, you know, I really can't ask these questions in the PLT because it's probably a little bit of like a waste of the intended time for the PLT, my curiosity on saints. And then lo and behold, a topic came up at the PLT that was, what should we talk about in the Digital Foyer? And I thought, yeah, I could ask questions of Father Isaac about saints. So that's what we're here to do.
So basically you get to process all of your questions out loud, and everyone else gets to just process with you. This is great. Yeah,
exactly. Well, you see, for me, it's a bit like I did not grow up Catholic. I actually really didn't even grow up with Jesus being talked about. That was a part of my life from when I was 16 on. So I didn't really have an experience of saints as a kid, and most of my time in my faith life, I also didn't have an experience of saints. I became fully Catholic in 2018 is when I received confirmation. So I often have questions about saints, or a lot of my friends in the evangelical, charismatic Protestant world have questions for me about saints. It's like, well, do you pray to the saints? And I would have tried to explain to them, I said, for me, it's almost like I'd ask you to pray for me when I'm going through something. And in the same way, I would ask a saint to pray for me when I'm going through something. They're almost like they're my prayer partners.
Yeah, they're kind of like heavenly prayer partners. I mean, they've died in this earthly life, but they're still alive. I mean, everyone who's in Jesus is alive. In fact, they're in one sense more alive than we are, so they can still be praying for us.
They can still be praying for us.
Yeah.
So then, of course, came the question of the day that when I was driving in that was really sticking with me was, is it okay for me to ask someone to pray for me who's passed away, but who has not been recognized as a saint?
That is a very good question.
Right.
And I don't know verbatim what the answer to that is actually, but I have some things that I can say about it. So first of all, when someone becomes a saint, it's not like, it's like, oh, now they're in heaven. People can be in heaven and we don't know that they're saints. You know, these kinds of things happen. What a saint is someone who the church has said, for sure, this person is in heaven. So there's lots of people in heaven right now that we don't know about as saints, but we'll only know them when we get to heaven, we get to meet them. And so when the church canonizes someone as a saint, they're holding them up for kind of publicly they're saying this person's a saint. And so publicly we're allowed to ask them for prayer. So like in the Mass or as a whole group or doing a pilgrimage to where they're buried or something like that. But that doesn't stop us from privately in our own prayer devotions talking with people that have passed on, that we have a pretty good sense that they're in heaven because of how they live their life, and that's perfectly fine. It's just I can't, stand up at Mass and have everyone pray to my grandma who's passed away or something like that unless she's a saint.
Okay, well here's the thing: is there's someone who's very close to me, who I love very dearly, and I had been praying for them, and then after I heard of Sister Anna of the Servants of the Cross passing very suddenly, she's a foundress of the Sisters Servants of the Cross, who are like a sister organization to the Companions of the Cross that Father Isaac belongs to. I don't ever remember my dreams, and I had a dream that night that I was at her funeral, and this person who I love dearly and have been praying for was with me there too. And it was a really positive experience. And so the next day I said, well, I don't know, Sister, if this is something, but could you pray for this person too?
I love that, and I think that's totally in line, because if you think about it, all the people that we pray to as saints at one point weren't canonized. And so devotion to them kind of built over time, and that's actually part of the process that someone becomes a saint. In order to become a saint, there kind of needs to be widespread knowledge or devotion to this person. People have healings from praying for their intercession. So all of that is taking place before they're formally canonized.
Okay.
So it does kind of build up. And then once a person is made a saint, it's like the church puts that stamp of approval and says, yep, we're holding this person up for the whole church to have a prayer partner in heaven now.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of, that's how that works.
That's actually pretty helpful.
Yeah.
And just prepositionally, like as part of speech being a preposition, which would be the correct way of saying it? I am praying to a saint, or I'm asking a saint to pray for me. Mm-hmm. Is it a one or the other, or both are okay?
I think both are okay.
Okay.
Yeah, both are okay, yeah.
So, and the reason why I wanted to ask Father Isaac about this is because he has a podcast, particularly on the lives of saints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do.
So how long have you been doing that?
I was doing that actually as a seminarian. So it started out as a radio show that I was doing. And then when I actually came here to Halifax as a seminarian, I was telling Father Simon about it. He's like, well, how do I listen to it? I said, well, you have to be in certain states that broadcast this program. And he said, well, how about you make a podcast out of it? Because I already had all the audio saved. And I'm like, I guess I could do that. So yeah, I did it. It's called Heroes of the Faith, and it's on the lives of the saints. So I've done over 100 episodes now.
Wow.
So you can kind of track. You can hear the first episodes, and I'm introducing myself as Isaac, then Deacon Isaac, now Father Isaac. You can kind of track. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess it's the same as anything. It's going to be Spotify and podcasts, Apple Podcasts.
Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all the places that you would normally find your podcasts. If you look up Heroes of the Faith, it should show up.
All right. Well, I'll have to go take a look.
Yeah, you do it.
Thanks. So I think that this is probably time for me to get going and take a listen to some of these things. I think I'll have more questions the next time. Don't worry.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll see you soon, and make sure that you become a saint too.